one of the things that people have the least experience with going into a class like this is often how to deal with units. I might have a problem where things are expressed in one type of unit, but to use a formula you need to use a different type of unit. Or just to make sense of certain things, sometimes it's better to use one unit than another. So I'd like to go through a few examples of that, and then hopefully these techniques will be useful for other problems going forward. Let's take, for instance, a very simple case. Suppose you want to know how many minutes there are in 5 hours. So I want to take 5 hours and write that in terms of minutes. Now, this maybe seems like a simple example because you know how to do that already. But let's try to develop a technique that we can use for circumstances when it's not so obvious. Well, the first thing to note is that we're going to try to multiply this by 1. So we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. That means that we know that we can say that 1 hour over 60 minutes is equal to 1. And similarly, 60 minutes over 1 hour is also equal to 1. So I can take 5 hours and multiply it by 1. In this case, I'm going to want to multiply it by something that will allow me to cancel off the hours units that I already have. So I'm going to multiply by this. 5 hours times 60 minutes divided by 1 hour. Note that this is just 1, right? 60 minutes and 1 hour are the same thing. So I can multiply this and I'm not changing its actual value. I'm just changing its units. But I can cancel off these hours here, and now I'm just left with 5 times 60 equals 300 minutes. So we've canceled off the hour units, and we're left with only the minute unit. Okay, let's go on to a slightly more complicated example. Let's suppose we want to know how far in light years is 12 parsecs. Well, 12 parsecs in light years. Well, we know that 1 parsec is equal to 3.26 light years. So, what do? I know that this tells me then that I have 3.26 light years over 1 parsec is equal to 1. Or 1 parsec over 3.26 light years is equal to 1. I'm going to want to use this one here to cancel off the parsec units there. So let me just erase this bottom one for the moment. So we have 12 parsecs times 3.26 light years divided by 1 parsec. Remember, this is just equal to 1. So I haven't actually done anything, I just multiplied 12 parsecs by 1. But since I have parsec in the numerator and denominator, I can cancel those off. And I now have 12 times 3.26. This then gives me 39.12 light year. Very simple. All right, now let's try a much more complicated example. Let's suppose that I want to know how far 1 parsec is in kilometers. Well, I know what a parsec is in light years, but how do I convert light years into kilometers? Well, remember, a light year is how far light goes in 1 year. And distance is equal to velocity times time. So, in this case, velocity is the speed of light, and time is 1 year. So, a light year is the speed of light times 1 year. The speed of light is about 3 times 10 to the 5th kilometers per second times 1 year. But now we have a problem, because I have the speed of light in kilometers per second, and I have years in here, and years and seconds don't cancel, when I'd like to have the final answer in kilometers. So what are we going to do? Well, I have 3 times 10 to the 5th kilometers per second times 1 year. But what do I know? I know that there's 365 days in 1 year. Again, note that I'm just multiplying this expression by 1. I'm not doing anything to it because 365 days and 1 year are the same thing. So this is just multiplying by 1. I know that there's 24 hours in 1 day, 60 minutes in 1 hour, and 60 seconds in 1 minute. So now what can I do? I cancel the years from here, the days cancel here, the hours cancel here, the minutes cancel here, and I'm left with this whole expression here is just in seconds, but the seconds here and the seconds here also cancel. So my only unit left is kilometers. So this tells me that a light year is 3 times 10 to the 5th kilometers times 365 times 24 times 60 times 60. And that, when you work it out, is 9.46 times 10 to the 12th kilometers. Okay, super. So let's remember that 1 light year is 9.46 times 10 to the 12th. So now, let's ask, how far is 1 parsec in kilometers? So 1 parsec is 3.26 light years. But I just found that 1 light year was 9.46 times 10 to the 12th kilometers. So I can multiply this by 9.46 times 10 to the 12th kilometers divided by 1 light year, because these are the same, so I'm again just multiplying by 1. Cancel off the light years, and I'm left with just kilometers as my unit, and as a final answer, I get 3.08 times 10 to the 13th kilometers. And now we've converted 1 parsec into kilometers. This trick of multiplying your answer by 1, where you know what the units that you want to cancel off are, you put those in the denominator, can be used almost any time to convert one type of units into the other type of units that you can use to solve the problem.